Hey, what is up? It's a Fit Gear Hunter, and today we're going to talk about the Huawei GT3 heart rate accuracy, specifically when wearing the watch, just using the optical heart rate sensor, wearing it on the wrist for doing a CrossFit workout. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing for more. I'm going to release more of a battery-specific review for the Huawei GT3, as well as a battery-specific review for the Garmin Epix, and I've got the Garmin Instinct 2 arriving any day for review on that. So, in looking at the Huawei GT3, it was very difficult to export the data. So what I've not been able to do is do a full analytical review of the heart rate accuracy. But what I will say is it is doing incredibly well on picking up the heart rate in a CrossFit workout when just wearing the watch on the wrist. Now, the Huawei GT3 is one of the unique watches from out of the Chinese manufacturers that actually can connect to a chest strap. So it can only connect to the Polar H7 and the Suunto sensor belt or smart sensor. So those two are still options and still viable options because I found it to connect relatively easy and work, really perfectly if you're wanting to track it. And I'm finding the algorithms to be relatively well written when it comes to evaluate the training load and the impact on your body aerobically and anaerobically cardiovascularly. So what we're going to look at is we're going to look at the charts when it comes to the heart rate graph on the Huawei GT3 and compared to a chest strap connected to a Garmin watch. And then we're going to blend the charts together so that you can see an overlap and get an idea of the overall accuracy. After we look at all the charts and 7 different workouts, and one of them was a total fail, and I'll walk you through what that was, but otherwise you can see the accuracy through the chart comparisons. And then we're going to look at how it evaluated training effect, both aerobic training effect and anaerobic training effect as it compares to Garmin's algorithms written by Firstbeat. We're also going to look at the recovery time estimates, at how much time it said you should take off from one hard level workout to the next hard level workout, and compare it to Garmin's recovery time estimates based on the Firstbeat algorithm there, so we can get an idea of the real fitness capabilities, both from a heart rate capability standpoint when just wearing the watch, if you didn't want to purchase a chest strap, as well as on the training side, the training load side, the cardiovascular impact from training effect side. So with that, let's dive into the charts and we'll come back together and talk about it. All right, so here's the first one, and I'm going to show you right out of the gate the time and the only time that it really failed miserably. If you look at this heart rate, it's a steady state run. I was pushing it just a little bit, but you can see the average heart rate here on the Huawei GT3 was 123 beats, and on the chest strap, it was averaging around 148. And when you blend these two together, the Huawei's on the bottom. So this was unfortunately an abnormal total failure. So let's get into the CrossFit workouts and where it actually was more successful. So here was a workout with some heavier lifting and a shorter Metcon. Here was it on the chest strap, and when I blend these two together, obviously these are not always perfectly to scale, but you can see that it followed the major flow of the workout. It kept a lot of the peaks and did relatively well. Here's another one with the longer Metcon in the end, and here's the same on the chest strap, and there's the two blended together. So it missed part of the first round, but picked up most of the intensity and most of the flow of the workout. Here's another one with multiple rounds. Here it is on the chest strap, and here it is on the blended. Now, some of this, again, might not be perfectly to scale, but it's close, and so it missed some of the first peaks, but picked up the majority of the back half of the peaks. Another workout, here it is on the chest strap, so you can see it didn't quite pick up that first round, and then on the blended, you can see where it shows the overlay. In the heavier lifting times, it didn't pick up the rise in heart rate, but overall picked up the flow of the workout. Another one with some heavier lifting in the beginning. Same thing on the chest strap, and relatively perfect match on the flow of the workout. Another one with some lighter lifting with some shorter Metcon in the end. You can see that it actually didn't clearly pick up some of the heavier lifting portions, and you can see where it missed it. So it doesn't pick up the spikes in heavy lifting where it just shoots up, but it does pick up the Metcon relatively well. Another one with a lot of short rounds on the end. This is the chest strap and the blend of the two. So it followed the flow, but missed maybe some of the super peaks, but overall picked up the workout. So here's what you get when you flow the training effect. So this is not going to be super helpful, but you can see it keeps relatively, this is the aerobic training effect scores. They're somewhat similar, with Garmin giving a little more credit to aerobic training effect. And then you have the anaerobic training effect. Sorry, this is making everybody dizzy, but the anaerobic training effect, it's giving a little bit more credit to anaerobic training effect relative to Garmin, except on some exceptions, Garmin's on the bottom. And then on the recovery time scores. So we'll see this in a chart form in a second, but on the recovery time scores, you know, these are not scores actually, this is just how much recovery time it said you needed to wait to do the next hard workout. You can see the numbers are relatively close, except for in some of the workouts where Garmin gave it a high aerobic training effect, it gave it a higher recovery time score. So let's look at some charts and how it looks like graphed out. So here you have the training effect, the aerobic training effect. You can see it basically follows the same pattern, although the Garmin's up top. Again, like I said, it's giving, you know, Garmin's always in blue, Huawei GT3 is in red. It's giving more credit to aerobic training effect, which is Garmin's sort of tendency, and I actually feel like that's more accurate. Here it is on the anaerobic training effect. You can see that Huawei again is in red and Garmin in blue, and you can see it's given more credit for the most part in the beginning, the first few workouts, on the anaerobic training effect. And then you can see the recovery times, very, very similar numbers. I would say that Huawei is doing a good job with their algorithm writing. And overall, I mean, if you look at these graphs, the heart rate accuracy, even though I can't analytically evaluate it, I would say it's in the 80 to 90% accuracy range, which is in the highly accurate range of what I would consider based on all the testing I've done. So now, what can we see from looking at the chart, sort of overlaid one on top? I know the scale wasn't probably perfect, but I made as much of it to be as close to the exact representation, one over the other, in the same heart rate ranges. And you can see that I would say it's probably in the 80 to 90% accurate range, right? Maybe right at 90%. So this optical heart rate sensor on the Huawei GT3 is incredibly accurate relative to previous generations, and even relative to many other heart rate sensors I've tried. Definitely more accurate than the Polar line of sensors, more accurate than the Suunto line of sensors, and way more accurate than the Coros line of sensors if you're just relying on the optical heart rate sensor built into the watch, strapping it on your wrist, and doing a CrossFit or high intensity workout. These charts are incredibly close in relative terms, and so that's why I would say it's in that 80 to 90, probably pushing up towards 90% accuracy when just relying on the optical heart rate sensor. And then when we look at the overall cardiovascular estimates or impact to your training and your fitness development over time, I will say you want to watch the full review for the Huawei GT3 in the description below, the links down below, because it does highlight where some of the limitations are on being able to see training load build over time on the app itself. It really just lives on the watch. You can see snapshots for each workout on the app itself for what your aerobic and anaerobic cardiovascular strain or training effect was, as well as the recovery snapshot for that one workout, how much recovery time it contributed to your overall needs. But you can't see your fitness over time on the app if you're an iPhone user, or maybe it's just disabled for the US. So with all that being said, when it just comes to heart rate evaluation, heart rate accuracy testing, the Huawei GT3 is an excellent optical heart rate sensor when worn on the wrist and doing CrossFit. Stay tuned for a lot more videos. It's the Fit Gear Hunter. Thanks so much for watching.